And good evening. You're listening to KVRX HD3 Austin, streaming at koop.org. Radio for people, not for profit. This is Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. I'm Mike Wheat, and each week on our show, we go beyond the stacks to get to know the people and programs that make the library a hub of learning, technology, and inspiration for our community. And as always, thanks to the kind folks at Writing on the Air for telling their listeners about our show. And as I mentioned, today I have two special guests. Wonderful guests. Hi, ladies.
Hello. Hello.
I have from Central Library, the Folk Central Library, we have Miss Jennifer Connor. She is a reference librarian.
Hello.
And then we have Miss Patti Fowler.
Hello.
She works, your office is at the Yarborough branch.
I'm at Yarborough,
But
yes.
you are division manager of?
I'm a regional branch operations manager. They call us R-bombs.
R-bomb. She is the bomb. She's our bomb.
Oh.
And so, welcome, guys. First
Thanks.
thing, I want to get to know you guys. So let's start with you, Jennifer. Where are you from?
I'm from right here in Austin, Texas.
A true original?
I was born and raised.
You are a rare bird.
I did not go far. For my undergrad, I went to San Marcos to Southwest Texas State University.
I remember that.
Yeah.
Now Texas State.
Now Texas State. And then I went to UT for my master's.
Oh.
And
now
I lived in
here you
Buda.
So your first foray into the library world, was it with Austin Public Library?
Yeah. I started working at the Austin History Center before I got my master's. I've always wanted to be a librarian since I was a little tiny kindergartner at St. Elmo Elementary. Miss Perkins was the most awesome person in the world, and she was the librarian because she had control of all the books. And I wanted to be a librarian from 5 years old. So
For the control of the books?
for the control, no. No, just because it's just a bigger world out there than Austin, Texas. So
Yeah.
I've always loved books.
So how old were you?
5.
5. Little Austinite girl, you were like, I'm going to be a librarian
I'm
at
going to
5
be a
years old.
librarian, yeah.
And here you are. You
Yep.
stuck to it. And Patty,
Yes.
what's your story?
Well, I have a very long story.
Oh, well, we got time.
I was actually born and raised in Louisiana. And I worked in public libraries all over Louisiana, from Ruston to Baton Rouge to Bossier City. And I was actually halfway to retirement.
Really?
I was. And on a regular day, just doing the same old,
Yeah.
this man walked in. It's always a man. And so that's how I got to Austin. So
Wait, you're skipping a whole lot there. You said there's a man, and that's how I got to
I
Austin.
am skipping a whole lot.
It's a family show.
But
Certainly not in the library.
he was actually entering paintings for an art show. And I thought I knew everyone in that particular art association. And I heard this voice say, I'd like to enter my paintings, please.
Oh.
And I looked up and I said, well, this is the place.
I can help you with that. So do you mind if I ask, how long ago was that you met Mr. Charming?
Well, we've been married almost 17 years.
And is this Mr. Fowler?
This is Mr. Fowler. Yes, it is.
So you even took his name.
I did.
Good for you.
Course.
Yeah.
Of course I did.
You know, these new kids, they don't always do that.
No, I don't.
Well,
I did, but we have the same initials, so.
You weren't losing out on a whole lot.
But I actually started at the Oak Hill branch as a librarian 3, and so I've had the opportunity to work at Oak Hill and Southeast and Pleasant Hill, Manchac, and now I'm at Yarborough.
And so how long have you been with APL now? Austin
Almost
Public
17 years.
Library? Man, and you were about ready to retire before that.
No, I was halfway.
Halfway, that's right.
About halfway
That's
to
right, that's right.
retirement. But that's okay. It's just work.
It's just
But it's fun.
Yes, it is.
I love the Austin
It
Public
is, and I
Library.
had a mentor in high school, Mrs. Marjorie Wade, and she's gone now. But like Jennifer, I went straight to get my master's after my undergrad, and I've been a librarian since 1984. So
And you've worked at almost all the branches.
many
All
of
the
the
South
branches.
ones.
All the
Yes,
South ones,
yes,
yeah.
many of them.
I started
And-
7 years ago. We were just discussing before the show, you were at Manchac. And that was before I was a full-time employee. And
I remember.
That was my home library because I went to Crockett High School, and Manchac was my home library.
and you're like, one
Go
day I'm going
there.
to run this place.
No.
I think I told you that.
Yeah. You did tell me I would move on to do good things. You didn't say it would be radio. or drawing pictures. I like to draw them pictures for the APL. So now you're at Yarborough.
I'm at Yarborough.
You think that's pretty much where you'll stay? You
Well,
hope?
I don't know.
Yeah.
You never know. They like to play, little checkers game every now and
They
then.
put you where they
so
need you.
They do.
Yeah.
They put us where they need us.
And that's what you get for being so good at your job.
Well, I don't know about that, but
Yeah.
I do know that I have enjoyed every branch that I have ever worked at. I have enjoyed every single one.
Well, you
and-
seem like one that would just bring the joy with them wherever they go.
Yep.
Well,
True.
I hope so, but
So you probably infected them. You didn't know that it was like a bad situation until you got there.
well, that may be true a time or two, but no, not really.
We can
No,
pretend.
Really, I've thoroughly enjoyed every place I've ever been, and I think I'm one of the lucky ones, Jennifer. I think you are too. That we went into something that we really, really enjoyed.
True.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have it any other way.
No.
I
I couldn't
it's
do
just-
anything else.
What we do every day is just really, really wonderful, and I wouldn't change a thing.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep.
Yeah, you definitely, jumping back over to Jennifer, you definitely bring a lot of the fun to the adult side of the library.
Yes. I'm co-chair of the adult programming
just about to say.
committee, and we explore ideas of new programming for adults in the Austin Public Library, and I just like to find fun things for folks to do.
You're a huge facilitator of our motto, More Than Books, where you try to give people experiences.
Exactly.
Got something special, anything lined up you want to mention about the summer reading programs?
Oh my gosh, so many fun things. I can't even think of them now because you asked me and then now I'm on the
It
spot.
wasn't planned.
But we've got so many great programs.
Like I know we're going to have some hand lettering workshops.
Hand lettering, calligraphy, hand painting.
A sign painting demo.
There's going to be a Harry Potter themed thing because it's the 20th anniversary or something.
I think there's some fans for that.
There's going to be a lot of really, really great programs this summer.
Awesome. All right, well, we're going to come back and talk to you guys, but first we need to take our first short break, and we're going to hear about all the fun events happening this coming week at all the different locations around town from our 3 favorite reference librarians. Here we go.
My name is Blair Parsons, and I'm a reference librarian at the Falk Central Library. Thursday night, March 23rd, the Pleasant Hill Branch Library will host Immigration 101, a free informational event. Catholic Charities of Central Texas will discuss immigration legal services they offer. The event begins at 7 o'clock p.m., Thursday, March 23rd at the Pleasant Hill Branch Library. The Twin Oaks Branch Library will host an author versus screenwriter adult trivia night Friday, March 24th. Teams of up to 6 members are invited to this 8-round quest to determine what was better, the book or the movie. Trivia night begins at 6:30 Friday night, March 24th at the Twin Oaks Branch Library. The next meeting of Write Club, the Falk Central Library's creative writing workshop, is Sunday, March 26th from 2 o'clock to 4 o'clock. Badger Dog writing instructor Noah Wise will lead the exercises and offer writing guidance.
This is Kathleen Houlihan, the teen librarian at the Falk Central Library downtown, bringing you all the teen and tween events happening across the Austin Public Library system this week. Learn to express yourself through media and technology with a workshop from Latinitas from 1 to 2:30 p.m. at the Ruiz branch on Saturday, March 25th, where the featured topic will be filmmaking. And on Tuesday, March 28th, you can participate in free play gaming at the Terrazas branch at 3 p.m. And from 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. at the Falk Central Library, youth can join in on a weekly Tabletop Tuesday game night for teens and their families. More library programs and details are at library.austintexas.gov/events.
This is Ann Minner, Youth Services Manager and Children's Librarian at the Old Quarry Branch. I get to tell you about something special happening at the Falk Central Library this week. The U.S. Navy does community outreach across the state of Texas, and it is Austin's turn. On Friday, March 24th, the Central Library presents Celebrate the Sea Storytime. Miss Melissa will be joined by 5 sailors from the USS Texas, a Virginia-class submarine in active service. These sailors will help sing songs and will be available for photos after storytime. Celebrate the Sea Storytime begins at 10:30 a.m. on Friday, March 24th at the Falk Central Library. It is appropriate for all ages. Details on the many baby, toddler, preschool, and all ages story times and programs offered throughout the season are at library.austintexas.gov.
Co-op celebrates during Women's History Month. To promote the health of our community, we're bringing Seton's Big Pink Bus to Co-op Monday, March 27th to provide no-cost mammograms to low-income, uninsured women over 40 with no implants, no history of breast cancer, and not currently breastfeeding. Mammograms are by appointment only. Call 512-324-3375 to make your appointment today.
Listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show.
On Co-op 91.7 FM, Hornsby, Austin, radio for people, not for profit.
And we're back. You're listening to Volumes on Co-op Radio, 91.7 FM on your digital FM dial, and at koop.org. And we have our guests in the room, Miss Jennifer Connor and Patti Fowler. And let's go to Jennifer Connor.
Hello.
You are here to talk about just one of those many wonderful programs you do.
My most favorite program.
It's pretty popular,
I would hope so. Nightcrafters. Oh,
is what we're talking about, folks.
two of my
Nightcrafters.
favorite things is libraries and crafting. Yes.
Yeah. So when you were a kid, dreaming about being a librarian, you were probably making something with your hands at the time.
Yes. My grandma is the person that opened that huge, gigantic, cavernous hobby, and we did everything every summer. Decoupage and quilting and sewing and anything with glue and popsicle sticks. And that's today.
It's just part of your fabric now.
Part of my, DNA.
You see what I did there?
And I think that
That was cute.
And it was when I first started it, I was like, well, why can't adults have fun craft nights?
Yeah.
All the kids get craft nights. That's
Yeah, when
not
you grow
fair.
up and you think back to being in school, everybody loved art class.
Exactly. So that's why I started Nightcrafters.
Well, thank you
But
for
we
that.
did have adult craft night. I'm not going to claim all the credit for it, but I just gave it a snazzy name.
Yeah, you branded it well.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
night crafters.
Exactly.
Crafting for the night. So what has been some of your favorite crafts?
Anything with succulents is crazy. The people love succulent plants and making little, like one year we carved out wine corks and put dirt and succulents and put a magnet on it, and people put them on their refrigerator.
Yeah, and isn't it weird that things like that become trendy? Like for a while, they're so
Totally.
hot. You'll see
Yes.
it at every store for a while, and then it goes away.
And we made them at the library.
Yeah.
And recently we did one where you can make your own rubber stamp. So we got the carving tools and the rubber, and people just went to town
Yeah.
and love making rubber stamps. That's one of my favorites.
Yeah. As a printmaker, I love stamps. As a kid, I used to take the eraser
Yep.
on my pencil and always draw a little thing and then use it as a stamp.
Yep, exactly. That's where it started. You can make it right there. You've got all those tools right there at home.
And they also work as a good backing for an earring.
Yes,
if you lose it.
they do. I just told my daughter that a couple weeks ago.
I had my ears pierced, okay? It was the 90s. So what have you got planned coming up?
Next week,
I've got your schedule.
yeah, we are going to be making macrame plant holders.
Oh, awesome.
So I've got a lot of
So
jars.
that's Monday,
Monday.
March 27th.
Yes.
6:30 p.m.
Yes.
At the Ruiz branch.
Yes. Well, we're going to do some macrame. I've
Macrame.
never done macrame, but I've learned, and
I'm picturing macaroni, so I'm probably wrong.
no, macrame, like the knotting, like your mother probably had a knotted macrame owl on her wall in the 1970s.
Yeah, she
And it
probably
was
did.
brown and orange, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
My mom did.
Yeah.
And it's just knotting, basically. It's like friendship bracelet, but bigger.
With that like almost fuzzy type
Rope.
real thick
Yeah.
yarn.
Yeah, but we're going to be using lots of fun things.
Nice.
Yeah. All the supplies will be there.
And then you've got the next one scheduled, I think, is Thursday, April 13th at Old Quarry Branch.
Right. I lead the one at Ruiz.
Okay.
And so there's a volunteer doing it at Old Quarry. I don't know what
That's how
they're gonna be
popular
doing.
it's gotten.
Exactly. There's, I think, 2 or 3 branches that are doing Night Crafters. I do the one at, I lead the one at Ruiz. So yeah, just.
Are you no longer doing it at Central?
We're no longer doing it at Central because I thought we were going to be.
Yeah, there's a
in the new
transition
Central.
happening.
Yeah. And I talked to the branch manager at Ruiz. Carlos is like, yeah, I'd love to have you down here. So
It's
we
still
planned
pretty much
everything.
central.
It is pretty much central, and it's a meeting room where we can close the door and we can be loud.
Oh, yeah.
At Central, it was kind of hard because we were out in the open.
Yeah, there's no closed off meeting areas.
No.
Not yet.
No, not yet. But when we open the new Central, it'll be fun.
Yeah, it will be.
Yes.
We'll all know how fun it is once we're in there. And Patty,
Yes.
you are having something coming up at Yarborough Branch.
We are. We're having a very special program called The Best Books of 2016 and Early 17.
So
Cheryl-
2017 so far.
So far, that's right. Cheryl Anthony and Stephanie Truax and I will be presenting about 25 books. Wow. And it was hard. The hardest part of this program was narrowing down the best of the best.
I was going to ask you who curated this list.
Well, all of us
How'd you do
together.
that? Wow.
It was tough. Because
So this is an
there was
Austin
just-
Public Library staff selected list.
Yes.
Your
pretty
staff,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
And so we wanted a mix, of course, fiction and nonfiction, and literary fiction and mysteries, and there's a graphic novel, and there's a YA, as well as nonfiction. Also historical fiction. We have, in the nonfiction, we have memoirs, and we have, I think the graphic is a non. It's based on journalists going over to the Mideast, and
I like the autobiographical graphic novels.
and we have some of those. We have some of those, but in the literary fiction, we have. We're going to talk about a book called A Doubter's Almanac, and this is just an amazing book. It's about a man that's born with an unusual mind. He doesn't realize that he is a genius until later in his life. And in his mind, he constructs these dazzling, intricate mathematical problems, but he doesn't have a clue about the basics of just human relationships. And he solves this 400-year-old problem. And after he does that, he sort of just becomes obsessed with solving another problem. He just can't
Was there an older
stop
one?
thinking about it. Was there what?
Was there an older problem?
This is fiction?
This is fiction.
Oh,
It's by
wow.
Ethan Kanan,
Wow.
A Doubter's Almanac.
Wow.
He actually teaches at the Iowa's Writers Workshop. And he's just a great writer. So, we're hoping to tell just enough about these stories that people will want to read them.
So, can I
And,
ask a question?
of course.
Well, yes.
So I want to know what this is going to look like. Are you going to? Is it going to be like a panel, and you're just going to talk about these books, or
We're
how does
just
that-
we're just going to take our turns, and we'll do 2 or 3 at a time.
Oh, okay.
And Cheryl and Stephanie and I, we're really looking forward to it.
Okay.
And we're also going to talk about a book, one of the most popular books this year, The Girls by Emma Cline. It's her
Yes.
first. It's her first novel.
Really?
It is, and that the prose in this book is so beautiful. And when you think about someone her age writing something so gorgeous, it's really interesting. And
I
this
think
is
about
about
the
a girl.
pressure of being that age, that first book, and coming out with such a big hit.
Well,
Like,
exactly. Have you read it? The
No, I
Girls?
haven't,
Have
but I
you
mean-
read it?
No.
Okay. Well, it's about a girl. It's a sort of a thriller / coming of age story, and it's about a girl that gets caught up in a Manson-like cult. And
Oh, yes, I've heard of this one.
yes. Oh, it's fabulous. And Stephanie is going to be talking about that one. And then we're going to be talking about another book that is, it's about a lady who is looking back on her life. And this book is by Elizabeth Strout. It's called My Name is Lucy Barton. It is the most gorgeously written book, very compact book, few characters, few words, and yet it just packs such an emotional punch. It's narrated by Lucy Barton, and she's looking back on her life.
Wow.
And it starts when she is in the hospital. She's gone into the hospital for an appendectomy, but she has to stay 9 weeks. Oof. And she wakes up one afternoon, and her mother is sitting at the foot of her bed. And what Strout does so beautifully is that she just peels back one layer at a time, very slowly. And the reader comes to know that she hasn't seen her mother in many years. So they begin to talk, and it's awkward. Mm-hmm. It's painful.
And especially if it sounds like she's building that awkwardness up slowly.
Absolutely.
It creeps on you.
And we learn that Lucy grew up in extreme poverty. To the point that she and her family, her parents and her 2 siblings, lived in a garage. But now she is upper middle class in New York City. So there is this chasm there between her and her mother.
It's sort of coming of age.
Sort of. It is. And you just, again, it's just... There, at one point in the book, she says that she was hoping that her mother would tell her, "Your father says that he hopes you get better," but he never did.
Is her mother dead?
No, her mother is sitting at the foot of her
Is
bed.
this a twist? Is this like an M. Night Shyamalan movie?
Her mother's in the hospital with her.
I didn't know if she was seeing a vision of her mother.
No, her mother is
Oh, my
there.
goodness.
Looks like you
I
just
know.
wrote your own story.
Yeah, you did. You just wrote
Sorry,
your
I
own
just
story.
gave it away.
So that's 3 of the books we're going to talk about, and we're going to talk about some mysteries. One of the mysteries that we're going to talk about was just wonderful. It was compared to Daphne du Maurier's Rebecca. You remember Rebecca? You've read Rebecca. Have you read Rebecca?
I haven't.
You must read Rebecca.
Stop asking me what I've read.
You can't work in the library if you haven't read Rebecca.
I read stuff.
So this book was actually compared to Rebecca, and it's about a young woman who gets on the train, and she goes to the English countryside to spend the weekend with her sister. And when she walks into her sister's house, her dog is hanging from the ceiling. Yeah. And at first she thinks, "How did you get up there?" And then she realizes, "Oh my goodness, he's dead." And then she finds her sister stabbed in an upstairs bedroom.
Oh Lord.
So then, and this is sort of a psychological thriller because
Sounds like
this character just becomes obsessed with finding her sister's killer.
What's the name of this book?
This is Under the Harrow by Flynn
gonna
Berry.
read this one.
Flynn Berry actually graduated from the Missioner School right here in
Oh,
Austin.
neat.
Yes, isn't that neat? Yeah.
So you got 2 so far you've mentioned locals.
Yeah. And another book is called Nutshell by Ian McEwan. I know you've probably read a lot of Ian McEwan.
Sure.
And this book is just fabulous.
Tell us
It
about this
is-
one in a nutshell.
In a nutshell. Okay, so this book in a nutshell.
give it all away,
is
Patty.
about I know, it's about a murder that's being planned. A lady and her lover are planning on committing a murder.
Love it.
And they don't realize that someone is listening to their plan. Someone is listening, and they don't know. So, and then we
find out more.
To find out more, and then we have some
program.
We have some nonfiction, and one of the nonfiction that we're going to talk about is about a story. If you were alive in 1974 and you're of an age that you remember 1974, you will remember this story. It is one of the most bizarre stories in American history.
Let us have it. You're not going to give it
I'm not
any?
going to tell you the title.
Awesome.
Oh, you had a teaser in there after all.
I do. Love it. And then we have an Alaskan adventure story.
Awesome.
Also.
Well, this is all happening again Sunday, March 26th at the Yarborough branch. That's at 2200 Hancock Drive from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m.
Absolutely, yeah, that's right.
And you can get more details by calling 512-974 8820.
Awesome.
That's right.
You want to make it real personal, you can ask for Patti.
Yeah.
She'll tell you all about the books. Awesome. Well, guys, it's been a lot of fun having you here.
Oh, it has
Yep.
been fun.
I really appreciate you
Agreed.
coming in and talking. And I think we've got a few more. We're going to take another break, a few segments. We'll be right back.
The International Folk Bazaar is your weekly excursion into all manner of acoustic roots music from all over the world. I'm your host, Kim Simpson. Join me every Wednesday from 12 noon until 1 p.m. on Austin's very own community radio station, KOOP 91.7 FM.
Support comes from the Bullock Museum's Texas Focus film series celebrating the 50th anniversary of Bonnie and Clyde, starring Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway, with a 35mm screening on Thursday, April the 20th in the Texas Spirit Theater. Reception starts at 6 o'clock. Tickets at thestoryoftexas.com.
All right. Thank you for that message. And we are back with Volumes, and I have my special guests, Jennifer Connor and Patti Fowler here. We've been talking about Nightcrafters, which happens several nights. The next one is going to be Monday, March 27th.
Always the last Monday of the month.
Always the last Monday.
Unless it's a holiday.
At the Ruiz branch, 6:30 p.m. And let's see with the URL for that. You can find out more about that at library.austintexas.gov/events. And then we have Patti Fowler, who's going to be sharing all of the amazing books of 2016 and 2017 so
The best
far.
books.
The best
Not
of
all
them.
of them,
Not
but the
all of
best
them. But they're best of them. They're favorites. And one more
They're
time,
a
that
lot of
is Sunday, March 26th, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. at the Yarborough branch. All of them within 4 hours. It's going to be a marathon. And again, so listen to us next week. We'll have Danny Sanchez and Marcos Martinez on the show to talk about ATO. That's Twin Oaks Library. They have an event called
Marcos
2
is
O'Clock
fun.
Tunes. And additional information about the Austin Public Library can always be found at library.austintexas.gov. Once again, big thanks to Sev and DJ for running the helm. And we'll talk to you all next week. Have a good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening to Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show. Details at library.austintexas.gov/volumes.
Want to give a special thanks to our audio engineer, DJ Harris, and our volunteer production assistant, Sev Corson.
And thanks to the musicians who composed and performed our original theme song: Andrew Noble on violin, Kirk Duvall on guitar, and APL's very own Mike Wheat on percussion.
Volumes, the Austin Public Library radio show, airs Wednesdays at 7 p.m. on KOOP.org Community Radio.